If you're an online coach, but you have inconsistencies within your sales process, you have good months, you have bad months, you do actually have lead flow, but you're not too sure why there's so much inconsistency within your business and why you can't seem to scale $200,000 per month. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how Alicia and Brian scaled to 154K in 30 days. So let's get to it. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how we generated our clients, Alicia and Brian, 154K in just 30 days. And as you can see here, this is our revenue and commission tracker. We generated 154K with an 11.8K average order value in the month of December 2025. As you can see here, this is Brian, one of the co-founders of Create Content Club, as we can see here. Right, this message, he essentially says 13K pay in full to close off the year, 154K month. And as you can see, this payment came in on the last day of December, the 31st, and we were able to end off that month at 154K. Now, if you look at the month before that, in November, we were able to book 12 qualified calls in a single day. And this really started the momentum in November that then allowed us within December to hit this massive month. As you can see at the start of December, as we're only 3 days into December, we were already at 39K cash collected for the month, which obviously set us up very, very well to close off at 154K. Another thing to take note of is if you look here, this is the 22nd of January. So 1 month after the record month, we were able to cross 100K again and hit 6 figures again with a 26K day, 22 days into January. So it's not just luck that, hey, somehow these guys were able to get Alicia and Brian to 154K in a month in December. No, 22 days into January, the month right after that, we were able to cross 6 figures again, right? So it's not luck. It's simply following a proven process that has worked for so many people at this point. Now that you guys know that we are actually good at what we do, I'm going to be breaking down what they were doing before, what they were struggling with, what the limiting beliefs were that they had to overcome and understand in order to actually see this result and generate 154K in a month, and what we actually did step by step going into their business, setting up our infrastructures, our training, our team, our management, all of the things that we did to allow them to hit this month. Now, going into their situation before, as you can see, this is their Instagram, so massive following, a bunch of content being posted out. That's really what they are known for, because they are a B2B business that helps people grow with content. Now, their situation before working with us is as follows. They had a 5% new convo to qualify call percentage, and they had a 61 or 62% show rate, and they were only making 30 to 50K per month cash collected, right? Now you have to think about this. They have 450,000 followers, but were only making, say, 40K per month. Now, what were they struggling with? They were struggling with converting new conversations into booked calls, as well as training and managing their team. And as you can see, their main goal was to scale to 100K plus months consistently. When I spoke to them, their big thing was the consistency aspect and actually being able to maintain that scale once they reached it. And that's why I'm showing you guys the fact that we were able to hit 100K again in the following month in just 22 days. This is the consistency that they wanted, and it's obviously the consistency that we were able to deliver for them, right? So that's where they were at before working with us. Now, what is the problem with this? What is the problem with these numbers and them being at 30 to 50K a month? A lot of people would want to get there and just stay at 40 to 50K per month. Like, what's the problem with all of these? The biggest thing is that they didn't focus on the most important part in any sales process, which is the setting. You can talk to a bunch of sales managers, they will tell you the most important part of most sales processes is the appointment setting process. Now, everyone thinks that they need better content or they need to run ads. Everyone thinks that they have a marketing problem. This is simply just not the case, right? And if you believe this for your own coaching business, this is what will happen. Your business will only rely on content, and you will start losing out on 5 to 6 figures a month, and you'll create an unstable business. Why? Why are all of these true if you think like this, if you think that you just need better content and just need to focus on marketing? Because if you just want to focus on marketing and you just feel like improving your marketing, getting more views, getting more followers is actually the key to the castle that will allow you to scale your business, what happens if you have a bad month in content? What happens if that video that you have scripted and you have filmed and you have edited doesn't get any views? Because that will happen. With organic, even with paid ads, there will be inconsistencies. So now, if you do not have a sales process, if you do not have conversions in place, what happens is you're completely reliant on that content and those paid ads performing consistently throughout the entire year, which simply just won't happen. That is why right now you have months where you hit 60K and then you go back down to 18K, and then you have a month where you get to maybe 92K and then you go back down to 18K, right? Like, there's so much inconsistency within your business because you only focus on making better content and potentially running ads. You need conversions, right? Like I said, they had 450,000 followers but were only generating 40,000 per month. Look at their views. They have way more followers and way more views than anyone watching this video. They have a video with 40 million views. Chances are you'll never make a video this good to get this many views, but they were still making 40K per month. So if your entire goal is to hopefully one day get a video to go this viral, you've seen it here. They have done it countless times, but their business still didn't scale. Now, as I said, they were getting more views than 99% of online coaches. However, they were still stuck at 40K per month. And it's because they were making these simple mistakes. They weren't tracking any data whatsoever when it came to their sales process. They had a poor post-booking system, and that's why they had the 62% show rate that I showed you earlier. They had bad setters, not because their setters were bad in terms of they were lazy or any of these type of things. It's because they had bad training, which we'll definitely get into in a moment. And the only thing that they focused on, like I said above, is just on making better content, even though their content was already performing very, very well and they already had leads. Now, this will lead me on to the common limiting belief that is holding all of you guys back from actually scaling your coaching business. Now, one thing I do also want to say before we get into that is that they were at around 40K per month in October. They finished October at around 40K per month. In December, they finished at 154K per month. Think about that. In November, the first month that we started working with them, they hit 82K cash. So they went from 40 to 82K in 30 days. That's doubling their business. Then from November to December, they went from 82K to 154K cash. Think about that. Think about the multiples that we have been able to scale their business just within 2 months, 58 days to be specific. This is the limiting belief that is stopping you from being able to do things like that. I'm not telling you that you're going to scale to 154K right after watching this video. However, it's definitely going to put you on the right track if you are able to understand this limiting belief and actually let go of this belief. Now, the biggest thing, it goes back to what I spoke about. Everyone thinks they need to spend more on ads, they need more views, they need to copy viral videos, they need more followers, all these type of things. However, if content stopped working, if your Instagram account got banned, or your views, or for example, the content space changes where now your formats that used to work no longer work, what happens? Your business collapses because your entire business lives or dies by how well your content performs. What I see in a lot of businesses right now is that revenue just fluctuates. You have good months, you have bad months, and everything depends on virality. You can't have your entire business just depending on whether this one reel gets this many views. How are you going to build a scalable business, a consistent business, when you're just relying on views? It doesn't happen, right? So as I said again, they had 450,000 followers, and this is what was happening. They kept trying new content. They had the same offer, the same leads, but their conversion was broken. The main reason this happens is because, like most business owners, they don't value how important appointment setting actually is, which means they never get good at it, which means they can't train their setters to be as good as they need them to be, right? So it's like you outsource appointment setting within your business because you know you're not good at it. But what you don't realize is that someone needs to train the people that you've now outsourced it to. But you try to train them and you can't train them because you outsourced it to them because you were bad at it in the first place. It makes no sense. It's like the biggest contradiction in the info space is, hey, I'm going to hire salespeople to do the thing that I'm bad at, but then I need to train them at the thing that I'm bad at. Makes no sense. This is why when I say that they had bad setters, where is it? Down here. It's because of bad training, because they didn't know what they were doing. Now, I'm not telling you that as a business owner, you need to be very, very good at setting yourself. I'm saying you need to understand the importance of it. This is why you're not scaling. That contradiction is the sole reason you're not scaling. I've seen people that are doing 100K a month, 200K per month with 10 to 20K followers. Genuinely. Why? Because follower count isn't their bottleneck. It's not the marketing. Conversion is your bottleneck. You have leads. You know you have leads. You just can't convert them. As you can see, another person that we work with, Mr. Patrick, has 16,000 followers, but guess what? He has conversion because we manage his setting team, and he has 22K a day, 25K a day. He was able to buy himself a McLaren, right? So it's like people like this, he doesn't have all the leads. Yes, he doesn't have these type of views. He has way less followers than what they did. But guess what? He's able to make 22K in a day, 25K a day, and buy himself a McLaren, right? These 2 days combined are more than what Alicia and Brian were making in a month with all their followers and all their views and all their marketing, right? I hope this finally solves this limiting belief for you where you don't need marketing. You literally just need conversion. You have the leads. I'm going to stop shouting at you guys and show you guys exactly what we did to implement this conversion mechanism within their business, fix their bottlenecks, and actually allow them to scale. So first thing we did is implement all of our tracking systems as you guys see here, right? All of our tracking systems all organized. And once we implement our tracking systems in these businesses, the biggest reason this is the first phase is to allow us to identify bottlenecks. Because if you have a sales process, you need to understand that you have bottlenecks within your sales process. That's why when you have leads, you are not making money because there are bottlenecks within your sales process that those leads are falling through. Therefore, they cannot be converted into cash. Now, when we implemented our tracking systems, we figured out they had a 5% new convert qualify call percentage and a 61% show rate. These were immediately the bottlenecks that we said, okay, if we can just fix these, they will scale. Now, immediately after that, our process is that we fix the A+ problem. So the way you want to look at your sales process is you take all the metrics and you rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And you say that anything that's a 7 or above is within KPI. And when you look to fix your sales process, you want to look at which of those numbers is furthest away from a 7 and tackle that first. And in our opinion, within KPI for show rate is like 70% or more industry standard, right? Therefore, we saw that the new convert qualify call percentage with our standards was far below KPI. Therefore, that was the first thing that we tackled, right? Now, if you don't watch this part of the video, you'll never actually understand what we did to scale them to these type of numbers within 58 days. This is the big thing that will help you guys. Yes, the limiting belief that you guys have and letting go of that will definitely help you within your business, but actually understanding what we did to fix their bottlenecks. If you don't have this, you mentally can be fine with no limiting beliefs, but you need the actual strategy behind it, right? So, big thing that we did is we increased the new convert qualify call percentage from 5% all the way to 20%, which if you ask anyone that knows what they're talking about, they will tell you that 20% is very, very high within the industry. Most people can't even get a 10% new convert qualify call percentage when they train setters. Now, I want to show you guys how important this metric actually is, and to give you guys a little bit more perspective, because maybe a lot of you are looking at this metric and you don't quite understand what a convert qualify call percentage is. It's essentially your booking rate, but for qualified conversations. What I mean is, if you give your setter 100 new leads, 100 new conversations, what is the percentage of qualified calls that he books from those leads? So if you give him 100 and he books 5 qualified calls, you have a 5% new convert qualified call percentage. If you give him 100 leads and he books at 20%, you book 20 qualified calls from the 100 new leads. Hope that makes sense. Now, I want to show you guys the importance of actually increasing this metric and the impact that it can have on your guys' business. Now, most of you right now, if you're below 100K per month, more or less, you guys book around 50 to 100 qualified calls a month. The average info business under 100K per month, this is kind of their metrics. Now, I want to show you guys something which is literally just the importance of this. Now, I've created these 2 graphs or charts or whatever you want to call them, where the only deviation, the only thing that changes is the new convert qualified call percentage. All the other metrics have stayed the same. So as you can see, new convos 1000, new convos 1000, it stays the same. Like I said, new convert qualified call percentage is the only thing that changes as we were able to increase it. So here it's 5%, here it's 20%. Now, as you can see, the show rate is 80% on both of them. Close rate is 30% for both. Average order value is 3K for both, right? So the only thing that changes is new convert qualified call percentage. Here, if it's 5%, out of 1,000 new convos, they book 50 qualified calls with an 80% show rate. 40 of them show up, 30% close, which is 12 closes, times the 3K average order value, that's 36K cash collected, okay? This is where you guys are at right now. Most of you guys are right here. Now, on a weekly basis, you make around 10K per month. You take, say, 10 calls a week. 9K a week, and you take around 10 calls a week. And on average, this is what your stats look like on a daily basis, right? Now, like I said, the only thing we change is the new convert qualified call percentage, which is the training that we provide for the setters. As we can see, from 1,000 new convos, we now book 200 qualified calls. Not 50, but 200. That means 160 qualified calls are taken throughout the month. 48 new closes with a 3K average order value. That's 144K cash collected. Think about that difference. From 36K to 144K with just one metric that increases. Now, on a weekly basis, you are making the same amount as what you were making on a monthly basis. That is the power of increasing this metric. That is the power of understanding the importance of appointment setting within your sales process. Now, the big question, how did we actually increase it from 5% to 20% in a matter of 2 months, right? First of all, when we start working with a new team, we start training new sets, they get access to our full appointment setting course, and then they get access to our full internal training center where everything is customized to their niche, to the niche that they're working in, right? So in this case, Alicia and Brian were in the B2B niche, and that's why their setters were in here, where they get, obviously, DM reviews, they run mocks, they get help with their conversations, we analyze their end of day reports, all these type of things, right? Now, we have head coaches that sit here all day and just train setters. That's all they do. And they just manage setters and they train setters on a daily basis. This is why we are the best in the industry when it comes to training DM setters. This is why we can get a 20% new convert qualified call percentage where you see the difference it makes, right? Now, after that, obviously the head coaches host daily niche specific training calls for all the setters. They run mocks with them. The setters now are able to run mocks with more experienced setters that have worked in the B2B industry or the fitness industry or the BizOp industry for multiple months now, and are actually very good at what they do. They themselves maybe have a 23% new convert qualified call percentage, and now when your setter comes in and is training with that person, the chances of their new convert qualified call percentage increasing is very, very high, alongside our head coaches helping them, me helping them, all these type of things, right? Now, head coaches review submitted mocks and conversations to give feedback on a daily basis. We obviously do convo reviews, and then setters submit all the conversations to be reviewed, and they receive all the feedback and all these type of things. They can also, as you can see here, this is actually Alicia and Brian's setter. He submits a conversation. He's like, I don't know what to do here. One of our head coaches, Sahid, who's very, very good at what he does, gave him feedback, bam, the call was booked in real time. This is how we increase that percentage, right? As well as that, we obviously give end of day support. So the setters fill out the end of day reports. Our head coaches look at them. We analyze bottlenecks in real time. Okay, the conversion wasn't too good. Send me the calls that you propose, where you propose the call. Let me review them. All these type of things, right? The result is that on average we 3 to 5x the new convert qualified call percentage, which if you 3 to 5x that, it means you're now booking 3 to 5x 3 to 5 times more qualified calls. If you book 3 to 5 times more qualified calls, chances are your business will 3 to 5x. It's just simple maths. You want to build, the way you build a scalable sales process, in my opinion, is by looking at data. You need to understand the data. It's all numbers. It's not, oh, hopefully one day we hit 100K a month or 200K per month or 154K a month. No, it's like, let's look at this data. If we have these metrics, if we can improve this metric to this number, it is mathematically impossible for us not to hit this goal. That is the way you want to scale your sales process. Now, enough of me ranting. I'm going to go on to phase 3. So that was phase 2, which is fixing the new convert qualified call percentage. Phase 3 is then getting the entire sales process within KPI. So like I said, you want to look at your sales process as these 3, or like there's more, but like 4 main metrics that you look at, which will be your new convert qualified call percentage, your show rate, your close rate, and your average order value, right? Once we fix the A+ problem, we want to go on to, like I said, if you rate those 4 metrics on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say their new convert qualified call percentage was maybe a 4 out of 10. We fix that, we get that up to a 9 or a 10 out of 10, as you guys saw. But then the show rate was maybe like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Before we really look at scaling, you want to get the entire sales process within KPI, which means all of those metrics on a scale of 1 to 10 need to be above a 7. That is why we handled the show rate next. Now, in terms of the show rate, we were able to get it from 61% to 92%, right? Big jump. Obviously, most coaching offers under 100K per month, like I said, book around 100 calls a month. If you have a 30% increase, which is what we were able to provide for them, it means you now take 30 more qualified calls on a monthly basis. If you take 30 more qualified calls, you probably close 10 more people. If you have a 33% close rate, if you close 10 more people on a monthly basis, if you have a 2 to 5K average order value, you are now making 20 to 50K more per month. So it's like, you see, I hope that you guys can now see how we were actually able to scale them from 40 to 154K so quickly. Because if you're able to add an extra 20 to 50K a month through the show rate, and then you can see the difference here, where what they were making on a monthly basis, they can now make in a week because we added an extra 100K through here. You can see how by us just changing these 2 simple metrics, they go from 40 to 154K. Again, it's just maths. It's literally just, if this percentage goes from this to this, how many more qualified calls am I taking? Think about this. You look at your show rate right now. Look at your new convert qualified call percentage right now and ask yourself, if I was booking in 20% of new conversations into qualified calls, how much more money would my business be making? If my show rate, maybe right now your show rate is 60%, if it got to 92%, how much more money would your business be making? That is the power of our management and obviously our training and all these type of things. But it's simple maths. Even if you go and try to fix those metrics on your own, which by all means it's your business, you'll still get that same benefit, right? Obviously the thing we do is, a lot of business owners don't know how to fix them. That's why they come to us, so that we can fix them within a short time span. But the big thing I want you guys to realize is, if you want to build that scalable business, it's literally just maths. It's literally just these metrics, especially to get to 6 figures. If you're at 20K, you can get there with a couple good videos where you get leads and one lucky day where you book a couple calls, realistically. To build a 6-figure per month coaching business, you need to be tracking data and you need to be very conscious of it, right? Cool. Hope I got that through to you guys. Now I'm going to go on to how we were actually able to fix the show rate. A big thing, to be honest, that a lot of people don't understand about show rate and about their post-booking system is, and the only thing we actually did is implement a triage call. which is where we call the leads right after they book to get them to confirm the call and continue building trust and incentive. And this brings me to the point that I want to bring up about how we actually got it to 90%. A lot of people, when it comes to the setting process, they understand that they need to ask questions to invoke emotion and pain and talk about people's goals, as well as relating to them and building trust, right? So what you're doing in the setting process to get them to book a call is you create trust and you build incentive. In my opinion, to get anyone to take an action within your sales process, you need to create trust and you need to build incentive, right? If you do that in the setting process, you need to continue doing it in the post-booking process to get them to show up, because them booking a call is an action, but them showing up is also an action, and them closing is also an action. What do you do on the sales calls? You ask them probing questions to get them to open up about their pain, about their goals, about their limiting beliefs, and you build trust, you relate, you talk about previous clients that have been able to get the same result. So if you are creating trust and you're building incentive within your closing process as well as your setting process, why don't you do it in your post-booking process? If you answer that question, you'll realize why you have a 62% show rate. You need to continue doing it. You need to continue building trust, creating incentive within the post-booking process. It's as simple as that, right? If you want to get them to take an action within your sales process, those are the two things you need to do. So that's literally how we increase the show rate. It's a very, show rate, I will tell you, is more of a process issue as opposed to skill set. Yes, you could argue that maybe if you're already doing a triage process, the setters aren't trained on it and they don't know how to actually call people and what to say. Fine, that might be skill set, but a lot of people aren't doing a triage process at all. So it's more of a process issue, right? But I hope you guys understand why you need to continue building trust and creating incentive within the post-booking process. So those are really the two main things that we did, is we implement our tracking systems, we find the bottlenecks within the sales process, and we fix the bottlenecks within the sales process to get it within KPI. Once we do that, we can then scale, right? The key, in my opinion, to simplify scaling a coaching business is get your sales process within KPI, and then potentially, if there's not enough leads, which most of you guys already have enough leads, as I showed you guys, Patrick, with only 16,000 followers, is having 22K and 25K days and has a McLaren, right? Most of you guys already have leads. The biggest thing you need to do is get your sales process within KPI, get your setters the necessary training that they actually need to get the new convo to qualified call percentage from 5% to 20%, because you guys see the difference that it makes, right? This is a wrap on what we did for them to allow them to scale to 254K in December and now past 100K within just 22 days in January, right? And I'm sure that they're never going to have a month moving forward where they get below or where they make below 6 figures again, because of that process that you've built. You are now building a business that you can rely on, that is stable, that is backed by data, as opposed to hopefully one day when I get a viral video, I will get to 100K per month, which I hope I've shown you getting viral videos doesn't get you to 100K per month, because they had a video at 40 million views, but they were still at 40K per month. So I hope after watching this, you guys at least learned a couple things. The main things would be understanding that just improving your content, just getting more views won't get you to your goals. You need to build a sales process that is data driven, and you need to either figure out how to get it within KPI or work with someone that can get it within KPI with the necessary training, the necessary systems, and the necessary management. So if you guys found this helpful, you guys can find me obviously on YouTube. Please subscribe and do all those good things. You can also find me on Instagram at the Alex Garov. And of course, if you want help implementing these same systems, processes, training to get your sales process within KPI and build a business that you can actually rely on when it comes to your sales side and when it comes to your conversion side, go ahead, book a call below, speak to me personally to see how we can come into your business and implement the same systems for you so you can have similar results as Alicia and Brian did. And then, as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.